我本部。
你疯了吗？九幽之海威
杀你！
凶险重重，每滴海水都重如太
怪我了！不，交出
山，还会出现九幽漩涡。
现在哪管得了这外族？山主羽翼，找你命！朝魔音山的死亡深渊，握住九幽之海，好强的吞噬之力！原找死！
Hello everyone, welcome to the Allrasta channel. Here I will share spoilers for SwallowedStar episode 207. Remember, this is based on the novel, so it won't be 100% similar to the Donghua version. Okay, without further ado, let's dive right into the story. When the explosion of the Flame God Crystal successfully destroyed a small part of the tree branch, Luofeng's Mosha body quickly teleported back to grab the broken branch in the midst of the chaos. However, the mysterious power of the World Tree at the Universe Master level suddenly intervened by emitting destructive energy that instantly paralyzed Mosha's body. The intervention of the Father of the World Trees caused Mosha to be killed again, turning to dust before he could teleport away. Despite his total failure, Luofeng gained valuable information about how terrifying the collective defense structure of the inhabitants of Tree Island was. On the other hand, the other world trees merely regarded this theft attempt as a minor amusement while mocking their youngest sibling, who nearly got caught. This failure forced Luofeng to think harder and learn from his mistakes in order to obtain that legendary genetic material. Luofeng realized that his failure was caused by the direct intervention of the strongest world tree, which possessed power equivalent to that of a universe master. This majestic figure turned out to be a very protective father to his 8 child trees, having shared the essence of life to raise them on the island. Although annoyed at being considered an annoying aunt, Luofeng finally understood that it was the familial bond between these special beings that made it difficult for him to steal genetic material openly. After successfully breeding Mosha's body back in his internal world, Luofeng immediately devised a new plan that was much more conservative, but had a high success rate. This strategy involved a pinnacle king-level slave as a distraction who would detonate the flame origin crystal to create chaos around the tree crown. This clever plan was intended to throw the detached branches and leaves out of the halo zone so that Mosha could grab them secretly without being detected by the island ruler's radar. The Mosha clone disguised itself again as a cluster of seeds floating in the air and began a long journey of several months to approach the world tree area. While waiting for the wind to carry his body to the right position, Luofeng remained vigilant because the strongest world tree must have increased its alertness towards any intruders from other races. For him, this was a big gamble to obtain the legendary third clone body so that he could immediately make a breakthrough to become a true Immortal level fighter. On the other hand, the peace in the 9 remoteness space began to be disturbed by the arrival of 7 great fighters from various races led by Venerable Black Crow. This group brings with them King Barkmirror, a genius heir to the Northern Territory Alliance. The purpose of these elite fighters' presence is to search for valuable treasures in this dangerous region by utilizing the unique and greatly feared detection abilities of King Barkmirror. The meeting of these powerful figures creates new tensions because King Barkmirror is known to be very greedy and cruel, and has combat powers that can rival many universe venerables. They decide to head to Rock Island as their starting point for exploration, because it is considered the safest place before exploring the risky 9 remoteness space area. Unbeknownst to them, the movements of this elite group are likely to intersect with the secret plans of Luofeng, who is hiding to carry out his mission of stealing the leaves of the World Tree. The 7 powerful figures led by Venerable Black Crow and King Barkmirror finally landed on the barren surface of Rock Island to begin their expedition. Although the 9 remoteness ocean region was known to be extremely deadly, the arrogant King Barkmirror insisted on exploring the area in search of high-level treasures. By accident, he used his universe mirror technique and successfully detected the presence of Luofeng, who was hiding in a remote cave. Knowing that King Blade River possessed a legendary pair of wings as treasure, King Barkmirror's greed immediately peaked to seize the item. He warned his companions not to interfere with his hunt and threatened to antagonize anyone who dared reveal his evil intentions to humans. As a member of the influential Northern Territory Alliance, this cruel monster did not feel the slightest fear towards the human alliance and began to approach his target quietly. Luofeng, who was waiting for the right moment to steal the leaves of the World Tree, was completely unaware that his presence had been detected by his opponent's unique detection ability. Suddenly, King Bark Mirror activated the space seal technique to lock the laws of space around the island, so that Luofeng could not escape using teleportation or God Country transportation. Sensing that something was wrong, Luofeng immediately flew out of his hiding place and was shocked to see that an enemy was already poised to pounce. A deadly chase broke out in the skies above Rock Island as Luofeng tried to escape by exerting his extraordinary wing speed. King Bark Mirror laughed mockingly because he felt he had a genetic physical advantage 2,000 times greater than that of ordinary humans, as well as a very mature mastery of the laws of space. With a flying speed equivalent to that of a universe Venerable, the golden-haired monster slowly began to close the distance and almost caught up with Luofeng in a very short time. Realizing that his opponent had a speed far beyond his expectations, Luofeng was forced to take a big risk by activating the second form of his Shiwu wings. This transformation turned his wing feathers into blades sharp enough to split the surrounding space, creating intense turbulence. In an instant, Luofeng's body became blurred amid the chaos as he pushed his speed to the absolute limit to escape the predator's deadly pursuit. King Bark Mirror began to burn his divine body to chase Luofeng amid the turbulence of space filled with giant planetary fragments. Although his pure speed increased dramatically to exceed the level of a universe Venerable, he had difficulty keeping up with Luofeng's agile butterfly-like zigzag movements. Luofeng used advanced flying techniques to continue sharp maneuvers to avoid the increasingly brutal and destructive pursuit of his predator. Failing to catch up physically, King Bark Mirror unleashed a sealing treasure in the form of a giant purple crystal ball that created an extraordinarily powerful suction vortex. Luofeng was briefly trapped in the dimensional pull, but he immediately used the sharpness of his Shiwu wing to slash through space and free himself from the confinement. This failure enraged the enemy even more, and it decided to play its strongest card to instantly finish Luofeng off. King Bark Mirror unleashed its silent talent technique, a powerful soul roar whose power was capable of destroying the soul of an opponent at the universe Venerable level. This sound wave attack caused Luofeng to faint due to the massive pressure of willpower, attacking directly at the center of his soul. Fortunately, the soul-protecting treasure Tower Pearl reacted in time and managed to withstand the deadly blow until Luofeng regained consciousness in a state of extreme shock. Realizing that his life was hanging by a thread, Luofeng immediately made an extreme dive into the extremely cold, unpressurized 9 Remoteness Ocean. On the other hand, Venerable Black Crow and the other fighters felt extremely envious after realizing that Luofeng possessed at least 2 extremely rare true treasures. The conclusion that the young man possessed a high-level soul treasure triggered tremendous greed in the hearts of the elite fighters who witnessed the chase. King Bark Mirror was now mad with lust for the soul treasure, which was worth far more than any flying treasure in the universe. He continued to pursue Luofeng into the depths of the oppressive ocean, obsessed with the ambition to claim all the treasures as his own. This deadly pursuit led them both deeper into the most deadly area in the entire 9 Remoteness space. The deadly pursuit continues in the depths of the 9 Remoteness Ocean, where every drop of water weighs as much as a giant mountain. The increasingly crazed King Bark Mirror began to burn his divine energy to unleash pillars of material power to destroy Luofeng's physical body. Without a true flying palace treasure to take refuge in, Luofeng could only rely on the agility of his Shiwu wing to maneuver and avoid the energy shots capable of killing a universe Venerable level warrior. Seeing his prey continue to evade, King Bark Mirror unleashed his ultimate technique in the form of thousands of divine energy threads that formed a giant net to lock down Luofeng's movement. This technique, which drained 10% of his divine body, was designed to ensure that there was no escape for the King Blade River to maneuver further. In this predicament, Luofeng realized that even his Mosha clone would be unable to help him due to the limitations of the domain technique, which could not carry him away from the energy enclosure. The tension reached its peak when a 9 Remoteness Whirlpool suddenly appeared and spewed out a powerful red-horned Venerable figure from within. This creature, a native inhabitant of the ocean, immediately launched a destructive attack against the King Bark Mirror, because it did not like the presence of an alien race disrupting its territory. A great battle between Venerables broke out underwater, forcing the King Bark Mirror to shift all its focus and energy threads to defend itself from the onslaught of the mysterious universe Venerable. After realizing that his soul attack was ineffective against the ocean's native inhabitants, King Bark Mirror continued to hunt for Luofeng's treasure with his remaining strength. Pressed by the encircling energy threads that were closing in, Luofeng made the most risky decision by throwing himself directly into the center of the 9 remoteness whirlpool. This reckless decision caused his body to be instantly swallowed by the dreaded destructive current, leaving King Bark Mirror to roar in anger at the loss of his precious prey. On the surface of the sea, Venerable Black Crow, who witnessed the incident, felt both horrified and satisfied to see his rival fail to obtain the legendary human's true treasure. He believed that Luofeng had died a miserable death, and that all his treasures would be buried forever in the most dangerous core of the ocean in the entire 9 remoteness space. With the disappearance of King Blade River, the mysterious vortex remained as if it were a gateway to death that no ordinary fighter could penetrate. After being sucked into the 9 remoteness whirlpool, Luofeng was forced to take refuge inside the sealed star to withstand the pressure of the current that nearly destroyed his body. He finally arrived at a hidden world at the bottom of the ocean that was heavily guarded by an army of blood-horned creatures, the same race as the Venerables who attacked the King Bark Mirror. His presence immediately triggered the wrath of 300 Immortal-level soldiers who immediately surrounded him, considering him an intruder from a dangerous alien race. Luofeng immediately spurred his Shiwu wing to break through the encirclement and escape to the interior, which was filled with mysterious bloody mist. He realized that this environment completely suppressed the laws of space, rendering his teleportation techniques and God Country transportation completely useless. Although his power was suppressed by the planet's atmosphere, Luofeng's flying speed still far exceeded that of his pursuers, allowing him to disappear beyond the horizon. After flying 6 billion miles, Luofeng decided to hide in the mountainous area while thinking of a plan to escape from the center of the 9 remoteness ocean. He felt trapped in this deadly alien territory because the only exit was guarded by a very powerful elite force. While waiting for the Mosha clone to complete its mission at the World Tree, he immediately contacted his teacher, the Primal Chaos City leader, through the virtual world to ask for further help and guidance. The failure of the guard forces to capture the intruder immediately reached the ears of General Ma Machuo, who was in the ancient city at the center of the region. However, just as the general was about to lead the elite troops in pursuit, he was stopped by the appearance of one of the princes of the ruling race, clad in true treasure armor. The arrogant prince felt challenged and wanted to test his own strength as an immortal-level fighter against the genius of the alien race who had managed to escape. This ambitious prince ignored the concerns of his subordinates and insisted on personally leading the hunt to prove his superiority in front of his brothers. Accompanied by General Ma Machuo and 10 elite captains, the group began combing the area to find a location of King Blade River. This situation posed a new threat to Luofeng, as he now had to face the strongest native fighter in an environment completely biased toward the enemy. Faced with an increasingly uncontrollable situation, Luofeng met with his teacher, the Primal Chaos City leader, in the virtual world to report on the pursuit of King Bark Mirror and his decision to dive into the 9 remoteness whirlpool. He revealed that he had 3 true treasures, including a soul protector, which surprised and made proud his teacher because his student already had wealth equivalent to that of a top-class fighter. Luofeng explained that his choice to enter the 9 remoteness whirlpool was to save the treasures from falling into the hands of the greedy enemy alliance. Primal Chaos City leader revealed the great secret that the world at the bottom of the ocean was home to the 9 remoteness master, a universe master-level ruler whose power was equal to his own. This figure was greatly feared because he was an absolute, invincible ruler within the 9 remoteness space, even by the highest rulers in the universe. The teacher explained that the 9 remoteness master had such great influence that even the ancestral god sect treated him with respect and awe. It turns out that the 9 remoteness master once owed a debt of gratitude to the Primal Chaos City leader in a past collaboration, which now becomes the last trump card for Luofeng's safety. His teacher gave special instructions for Luofeng to shout out his identity as a disciple of the Chaos City Lord if he found himself in a deadlock situation, because the ruler is able to hear everything that happens in his territory. This assistance would guarantee Luofeng's safety from any threat, as the 9 remoteness master would certainly honor his promise in order to repay his debt of gratitude. In addition to protection, Luofeng could also use the ruler's help to request leaves and branches from the World Master Level World Tree, which had been very difficult for him to obtain. Despite this offer of convenience, his teacher advised Luofeng not to rush into using this debt of gratitude unless there was truly no other way out. Luofeng was determined to continue trying to escape using Moshe's cloning ability first in order to honor the value of his teacher's precious help. After the meeting, Luofeng returned to his original body at the bottom of the ocean, feeling much calmer but still wary of being pursued by the native prince's troops. On the other hand, the Moshe clone, who had been in disguise for months, was now nearing the final stage of his journey to the heart of the World Trees region to carry out his death plan. Armed with knowledge about the rulers of that region, Luofeng prepared to face the decisive battle to obtain the World Tree's genetic material while keeping his true treasure safe. Hiding in the midst of the red mist of the Nine Remoteness space, Luofeng realized that this region was the absolute domain of the extremely powerful and invincible Nine Remoteness Master. Through the virtual world of Glory, he found himself the center of attention of all the heirs, because the news of his pursuit by King Bark Mirror had spread far and wide. He immediately met with his comrades from the Humeng Alliance to confirm that he was indeed currently trapped in a deadly vortex that was extremely dangerous for anyone. Luofeng explained to King Sevensword that this secret world had unique rules that prohibited the use of teleportation and God country transportation, so he was now completely isolated. On the other hand, King Bark Mirror arrogantly admitted his actions in front of the heirs of the Northern Territory Alliance and spread rumors that King Blade River had lost his true treasure. The news of the loss of the legendary wings sparked wild speculation among the heirs that the human genius had died or at least lost his main power. A huge commotion broke out again on Bohemia Island when a five-colored vortex phenomenon from the original laws of the universe suddenly appeared above the palace belonging to Master Zhen Yan. The teacher of Luofeng finally managed to break through his long cultivation stagnation and officially ascended to become a very powerful universe Venerable. This rare phenomenon attracted the attention of hundreds of millions of heirs who felt both envious and amazed at the massive transformation of godly energy that enveloped the human fighter's residence. As a newly risen universe Venerable, Master Zhen Yan immediately absorbed God energy from the Ocean of Laws to strengthen his new body to a stability level of 92%. Thanks to his tenfold genetic evolution, his divine body now had an energy capacity far exceeding that of the average human Venerable. Many universe Venerables and old friends immediately came to visit to congratulate him on his success in passing one of the most important milestones in his journey to becoming a great being. Amidst the celebratory atmosphere, Master Zhen Yan felt both surprised and worried because his beloved disciple had not yet appeared to congratulate him. He was completely unaware that Luofeng was currently fighting desperately to avoid being hunted by the native princes at the bottom of the extremely isolated Nine Remoteness Ocean. While the outside world celebrated the emergence of a new Venerable, Luofeng had to remain vigilant under the bloody mist in order to protect his life and the true treasure that many were after. Master Zhen Yan, who had just ascended to a higher level, realized that his disciple, Luofeng, was in grave danger after hearing the details of the incident from Wu Tang Venerable. Zhen Yan's fury erupted when he learned that King Bark Mirror had hunted down and trapped Luofeng, forcing him into the deadly vortex of Nine Remoteness. As a form of gratitude for Luofeng's help in breaking through his power, Master Zhen Yan was determined to teach a deadly lesson to anyone who dared to disturb his beloved disciple. Carrying his ancient black staff adorned with gold, Master Zhen Yan, who was known for his brutality in the past, officially returned to the battlefield. He immediately teleported to Rock Island to conduct reconnaissance and wait for the return of King Bark Mirror from the depths of the ocean. Master Zhen Yan sat meditating on the mountaintop like a hungry tiger stalking its prey, seeking revenge and protecting the honor of his disciple. Meanwhile, at the bottom of the Nine Remoteness world, an arrogant native prince mobilized thousands of soldiers to conduct a mass search throughout his territory. This blood-horned race has a genetic uniqueness where each individual automatically becomes a world master level when they reach maturity, even though their population is very small. The prince ordered every soldier to stay connected to the virtual network so that the position of foreign intruders could be immediately reported and hunted down without the slightest gap. Luofeng, who was hiding under the lake, was finally detected by a native Immortal soldier despite using the most advanced microdetector he had. Apparently, the energy of the Nine Remoteness world allowed the natives to easily distinguish foreign auras that infiltrated their homeland without being affected by technology. His secret was instantly revealed, forcing Luofeng to once again spur his Shiwu wing to escape from the encircling troops that were beginning to arrive. Luofeng's situation was now truly critical, as the prince and two native venerables began to move quickly to cut off his escape route. Without the ability to teleport in the underground world, he could only rely on his pure speed to continue maneuvering amid the endless threat of troops. This massive hunt marked the end of the peaceful period for Luofeng, while on the surface, Master Zhen Yan was preparing to begin a massacre of anyone who emerged from the sea. Luofeng was racing against time to break through the encirclement of the indigenous army in the extremely dangerous Nine Remoteness world. He realized that soul attacks were completely ineffective against the indigenous people, who were energy beings, so he had to rely solely on the speed of his Shiwu wing. Although he managed to avoid several clashes, the frequency of his encounters with the guards was increasing, indicating that the siege net was beginning to close in. On the other hand, the native prince and his two universe Venerable level guards were impressed by Luofeng's escape skills. The prince ordered 9 generals to perfect the deadly trap, and decided to personally hunt down Luofeng out of sheer curiosity. For these native officials, this Immortal level intruder was considered a special prey with abilities equivalent to a universe Venerable. Faced with a tight spot, Luofeng launched a cunning tactic by summoning 9 immortal slaves to disguise themselves as him and scatter in various directions as bait. This diversionary plan aimed to break the concentration of the surrounding forces so that he would have a small chance to escape from the pursuit of the native venerables. Amidst the panic, he received shocking news from the world of glory that his teacher, Master Zhen Yan, was raging against the Northern Territory Alliance. Master Zhen Yan, who had just leveled up, proved to have terrifying combat power by beating King Bark Mirror to near death on Rock Island. King Bark Mirror only survived thanks to the help of Feng Venerable, an elite fighter from the ancestral god sect who managed to repel Master Zhen Yan. Despite losing 54% of his divine body in the fierce clash, Master Zhen Yan managed to escape back to Bohemia Island safely. Luofeng immediately went to see his master in the virtual world to congratulate him on his success in breaking through to the universe Venerable level and avenging his revenge. In the magnificent Golden Mountain Palace, Master Zhen Yan looked very happy as he enjoyed his liquor despite his severely injured physical condition. Luofeng was curious and wondered about the reason behind his teacher's extraordinary joy, who remained enthusiastic even though he had just gone through a life-and-death battle. So what happens next? Let's wait and see in the next video, guys. Okay, thank you for watching until the end, and don't forget to support this channel with likes, subscribe, and comments. That's all from me, bye.